Greetings, lovely people, and welcome to Fast Track Thoughts. Today we're going to be talking about The Boys, Season 3, Episode 1, Payback. So spoilers ahead for that episode, and let's just jump straight into it. So we open up, as a lot of episodes tend to, with a new Seven film in this case. Sometimes adverts, sometimes it's other promotional stuff. This time it was a new Seven film. I didn't write down the title of it, which is kind of annoying. But we have a destroyed New York. Stormfront is the main villain of the piece, and it's basically just a retelling of the final battle of last season, just with the Seven actually, playing more of a part in it, and it being set in the city and stuff like that. But in any case, it looked good. It looked good. The recasting of Stormfront for the film is interesting. I don't know who the actress is, but she looks familiar. But in any case, that doesn't really matter. We pull into the cinema, where everyone is watching the premiere of the film. Stan is clearly suspicious of Homelander. He's not watching the film. He's just watching Homelander. Homelander is just tuning out the film. He's clearly on the brink of a mental breakdown of some description. We have some interviews, there's reshoots, there's a mention of Vought Plus, which I believe was a thing in Season 2 as well, and a hashtag release the Vought cut, which caused the film to get released and stuff, which, a lot of reflections of Warner Brothers and Disney, obviously, but, moving on from that, Starlight and Huey are still together, which, is to be expected. A-Train is going to race again, apparently. He says he's going to in an interview. And Homelander has a prepared response to discuss about how he didn't know that Stormfront was a Nazi, which he did know Stormfront was a Nazi. But obviously they don't want the public to know that. So, he's been given the same pre-prepared response to every news outlet and every interviewer and everything like that. The director of the film, Bork, I can't remember his first name, and Ashley are just hate fucking in the in the bathroom stall. She gets him to pull out her hair, straight up, rip it from her scalp and stuff. It is what it is. I doubt it's gonna go anywhere. Honestly, I've got a feeling this is probably the only time this is gonna happen, and we're just gonna have to accept that it's a thing. But yeah. They're in the bathroom. Huey bumps into them and is just disgusted by it, washes his hands, and then Butcher sneaks up on Huey in the bathroom, which is always fun. Butcher has got intel on a soup that needs to be taken in, and Butcher basically requests Huey's permission because Huey is kind of in charge of them, especially with him being kind of second in command to the whole agency that's in charge of superhero affairs. So he asks Huey's permission. Huey says no killing or injuring, and it's kind of just accepted. Frenchie and Kimiko are infiltrating the place that the soup is at, while Butcher is just in a van, but he's also buying Connect 4 on Amazon, which is interesting. I'll get back to that in a minute, but it turns out that the soup they're after is a shrinking soup, think Ant-Man or Doll Man or any of those sort of characters, and he's fucking a doll, like a toy doll, not like a sex doll or anything, just a toy, which is the boys is great. Kimiko fantasizes about singing. She's listening to someone play the piano. Obviously Kimiko still can't talk, so It's a fantasy just to be able to sing and stuff, and I'm sure that'll get added onto throughout the series. We have a lovely bit of full frontal male nudity, which is part of the course when it comes to this show. And the soup is hanging out with his partner or whatever, calls him baby, so I assume. And they're taking cocaine, and the soup actually sneezes when taking cocaine, which isn't a good sign. And then, I'm sorry that I have to describe this, but basically, the soup shrinks and uses himself kind of I hate describing this, like a sounding rod. If you don't know what that is, good. I am still going to have to describe it slightly. Essentially, he he walks into his partner's dick, like inside of it. I felt very uncomfortable, and I'm sure most people do. But yeah, he ends up sneezing again and explodes his partner because when he sneezes, he grows back to full size, which is kind of a design flaw in your superpower there, where you need full focus. But it is what it is. Gruesome as ever. It's the boys. You know how it is. Blood and guts all over the place. The soup is just covered in blood. And then Frenchie hears the scream essentially of the soup and comes into the room and is like just in shock, tries to get away, but the soup's not letting that happen, tries to crawl up Frenchie's ass to explode him as well. And yeah, after some fight with Kimiko and whatever else, and Frenchie basically getting knocked out by the soup, Butcher just manages to catch him in a cocaine bag, just a little baggie, and calls him Jiminy Cricket, which is another Disney reference. Love to see it. That's that scene. The soup is all jacked up on coke at that point because he's just sat in a bag of coke, but you know how it is. But at the end of the day, Butcher doesn't kill him, so he does actually follow Huey's rule. But yeah, Huey and Starlight are living together. We have Uptown Girl playing. Huey's just living his best life. Simon Pegg is actually back as Huey's dad, which is nice to see. And then we find out that the soup that Butcher was after is called Termite. So that's the name we're going with, Termite. Makes as much sense like Ant-Man or whatever, so fair enough. Newman steals Huey's bagel. It's a common thing throughout this. And then we run into who is presumably or presumed to be like a stalker of Victoria Newman, who keeps calling her Nadia. And I'll get onto that later in this episode. But yeah, that's a very interesting thing. He gets escorted away after talking to Huey. He gets escorted out by security. But yeah, it's interesting. We then have Butcher goes to a protected residence. It's actually where Ryan and Grace are living. The Connect 4 that Butcher got was for Ryan, which is really cute. And Ryan's been having nightmares about Homelander burning everything down and then killing him and stuff like that. Just, regular Homelander nightmares, as it is. So yeah, Grace, the Colonel Mallory, is looking after Ryan. Kind of says that, Butcher could give it up, give up the superhero hunting life, but, and he's also apparently had no drink or kills for a year, which is really impressive of Butcher. But yeah, the Butcher basically just says, like, nah, I don't want to get too attached just because I want to be able to take down people, essentially, which I think is fair enough. The Deep is promoting his new book, Deeper. It was written by Shia LaBeouf's ghostwriter, apparently. Homelander is on another talk show and he gives the same speech as before. MM's daughter has a soup-themed party. His daughter Janine, that is. MM's OCD is acting up still. He's not been taking his meds, apparently. And yeah, I know I'm jumping through a lot of stuff. There's just so much going on, and a lot of it isn't that important, but it's worth mentioning, so I'm sorry that I'm going through it so quickly. We find out there's a new V substance, a new soup chemical called V24. It's a temporary, 24-hour of powers sort of thing. That Stan is trying to sell to the government for use in the military. Stan has a button to lock the 7 meeting room. I don't remember that being a thing before, but it probably was. In fact, I'm pretty sure, yeah, it was. It was a thing before. Termite's been taken off the table. Instead of that, because Termite had some, product placement or something and got, hooked up on coke when he was captured, they're instead getting some B-listers that we've never heard of before: Cold Snap, Stacker, and Airburst. One of which it was domestic battery is what they're being charged on, but still, soup collateral is down 60%, so that's pretty good. But nevertheless, Butcher is angry with everything. All while Huey and Butcher are having an argument. Miko's just playing the piano, not well, but she's trying. Starlight has a 96% approval rating. and the board wants to make Starlight the co-captain of the Seven, which obviously, Homelander isn't going to like, but, I mean, to be fair, Starlight isn't all for it, but here's what it is. Starlight doesn't want to, but accepts it. We then meet Supersonic, who used to be called Drummer Boy, and used to be dating Starlight. There's this American Hero reality show competition, which is basically to find the next member of the Seven. We find out that Starlight, back in the day, puked on stage during one of Supersonic's concerts, which is always fun to find out more stuff about Starlight, I guess. Huey and Starlight argue about Vought and, Supersonic and the co-captain stuff and Homelander and all that other stuff. Yeah, that's really it. I'll say there's a lot that happens just to set up the rest of the series, and not a lot of it is that important. It's just worth mentioning. Homelander is losing it. He's hearing static noise and stuff. He's just but he then stops because A-Train is drinking a Shake Shack, and Homelander just gets angry at A-Train for not keeping in shape and not running and not being the fastest man alive anymore and stuff like that. Maeve actually catches the confrontation and, tries to meet up with somebody, which we'll discuss in a little bit. Homelander meets with Stormfront. Obviously, Stormfront is still in, a very bad state. Her face melted, she's lost an arm, I think she's lost a leg. She's not in a good way, but, she's alive, unfortunately. Stormfront gives Homelander a hand job. Stormfront is still a Nazi, but Homelander doesn't want the master race, so... On the bright side, at least Homelander isn't a Nazi. I know he's a lot worse things than... Well, he's not worse than a Nazi, but he's a lot of bad things, but he's not a Nazi, so that's something. So it turns out that Maeve was meeting with Butcher, and Butcher, his, source for all this information on the soups is actually Maeve this whole time. And we are told that Soldier Boy is the key to Homelander because of the BCL red weapon that was used to kill him, which... is interesting. It's a way of potentially killing a Homelander, so obviously Butcher is interested. They discuss the Payback super team, which was the biggest team until the Seven took over. It was Soldier Boy's team. It had Gunpowder, who was Soldier Boy's sidekick, and then Crimson Countess, who was his girlfriend or partner of some description. And Black Noir used to be on Payback at one point. Obviously now he's on the Seven. What else? Butcher is given some V24 by Maeve. And, then that night, Homelander visits Butcher's home. They kind of just discuss how they are kind of the same... They're two sides of the same coin sort of thing. They're opposite... They're opposed. They're against each other. But they both just want violence. And they both just want each other dead and stuff. So it's they're on the same... The same side of the argument, so to speak, even if they're against each other. We have Dream a Little Dream plays, Dream a Little Dream of Me, that one. MM is still obsessed with Soldier Boy, still got a little board with all stuff about Soldier Boy on it. Newman's stalker catches up with her. It turns out she is actually Nadia, and this guy Tony was her friend. They discuss something called Red River, which I'm sure we're going to find out more about later. Newman's stalker is a soup. He's very strong. But then Newman is able to blow up more than heads. She blows up his hand, then she blows off his jaw, and then eventually she just explodes him in his entirety, so he's just a pile of blood and guts. Which we've never seen her use her power to that extent, I don't believe. I believe it's always just been heads blowing up, but Newman kills Tony, and then calls in some sort of cleanup team. Huey has actually watched this all happen, so he now knows for sure what's happening with Newman. And the episode ends with Uptown Girl playing again. So, yeah, this is a lot for the first episode. And as I was noting everything down, I was like, I'm gonna have to rush through all this if I want it to be at all fast track, But it's a good episode. I'm a huge fan of The Boys. It is extreme in some of the best and worst ways. But honestly, I really enjoy it. Season 1 and 2 were both excellent. I can only hope this one lives up to the same expectations I have. But yeah, in any case, that's going to be it for this episode. So thanks for watching. If you did like it, make sure to like it, subscribe now and here, and ring the bell so you never miss an upload. Tell me what you think in the comments below of this episode or the series so far. Obviously, I'll be covering the other 3 episodes that are out currently on the run-up to this Friday when the next episode comes out. So yeah, expect a lot of The Boys coverage this week on the run-up to it, and then every Friday or Saturday after that will be the new episodes. But yeah, otherwise it's it from me, and I'll see you next time. Bye!
It's been a long week. I feel like I could use a vacation.